Soul 3, a realistic epic fantasy adventure by J.N. Wdowski. Note: for your full enjoyment, be sure to read or listen to the end and continue to the next chapter. Chapter 39. The mornings were beginning to feel later in the day. Upon waking, Dale was amazed how clean and organized his home had become due to Ensha staying there for the past 2 weeks. His small dwelling felt alive again with Zup, Josh, Ensha, and Pixa staying with him. For years, it had only been him, since his parents passed away and Christine had left him. The night before, Dale had climbed up into the attic to find the crib his father had made for him when he was a baby. He had hoped that one day it would be for his and Christine's first child. He never imagined he would not be using it for their baby, but for a fairy queen. "Did you sleep well last night?" Dale asked Pixa. "Yes, I did. Much more comfortable than a tree branch or a dresser drawer." She hovered in the shaft of early morning sunlight. "Come and sit, Dale," Josh insisted as he brought out a platter of bacon. Dale sat at the table, taking a moment to close his eyes to enjoy the smell of the bacon. Zoop and Ensha were already sitting at the table, helping themselves to blueberry pancakes. "Still tired?" Zup asked, already enjoying Josh's cooking. Dale opened his eyes as he began to help himself to a small stack of pancakes. No, slept well. Nothing better than one's own bed. He looked at Josh as he sat at the table to begin eating. "Aren't blueberry pancakes made from plants, wheat, and blueberries? And you cook?" Ensha placed a loving hand on her husband's thigh. "He does most of the cooking. I'm surprised I've been able to keep my girly figure with him." "Yes. Pancakes are not a carnivore diet. But due to Ensha's condition, it's acceptable," Josh explained. "But you wouldn't drink the ale before because it was made from wheat and rye?" Zup was confused by the inconsistency of Josh's faith. "How does Ensha's condition change that?" Josh seemed a bit embarrassed by being called out. "I have given it some thought. Plants actually create fruits, nuts, and grains for animals to feed upon as a method to spread their seed. Yes? Well, yes." Zup had to agree. "So, it is logical and reasonable, especially in honor of Ensha's condition of being with child, that the great author has actually written for us to eat the fruits, nuts, and grains of plants. No? Makes sense." Dale supported Josh's reasoning. "Thank you, Ensha, for being with child, so he could make such great pancakes." "Thank you for opening your home to us, Dale," she sincerely replied. "Yes, Dale, thank you. My cooking does not show enough of my gratitude for your taking us in," Josh added. Dale smiled at both of them and Zup. "I am happy to have you all here. It is my pleasure." Dale's warmth to his guests rivaled the warmth Pixa felt from the morning sun. It made her face uncontrollably beam with admiration when she looked at him. Her focus on Dale was interrupted by a loud knock on the front door. Pixa looked out the window. "It's Pete." "It's open," Dale called out to Pete. Pete walked in. He was equipped with one of the assault rifles on his back. "Greendale is calling a strategy meeting. He wants you there." "Can I finish my pancakes?" Dale asked, using a fork to cut another piece to place into his mouth to chew on. "Yeah, the meeting is at noon. Boy, those look good." Hungrily, Pete's eyes widened at the spread of food on the table. "There is plenty, my young friend." Josh invited Pete to take a seat. "Thanks. Been running messages all morning. Greendale didn't give me any time to get something to eat." Pete pulled another chair up to the table as Josh handed him a plate and cutlery. "Thanks." Pete dug in as if he had not eaten for days. "Never understood how you can eat so much and never gain an ounce." Dale teased the teenager. Between forkfuls of pancakes, Pete playfully responded, "The advantage of youth, old man." "Old man?" Dale was set back by the description. Late morning. Walking the streets of the town he had grown up in, he was amazed how much it had changed in less than a month. The new palisades that protected them, new buildings, additional blacksmiths, wood shops, chemists, wheelwrights and new markets had increased its size greatly. They had to navigate carefully through the congested streets of wagons, mounted warriors, and people from afar. Skilled craftsmen and warriors mingled among common women and children, all seeming in need to get someplace quickly. People were not moving in the casual pace the crowds in Tregore strolled, window shopping, stopping to talk to friends. East Riverton was the opposite of Dale's visit to the Neathton city. East Riverton was abuzz with the bustle of thousands. In a very short time period, his hometown had transformed into a city. As they entered the old town's center, the sky above was getting slightly darker, affecting Pixa. Her usual glow faded, and she began to drop back, along with her hovering altitude. Dale, noticing her struggling, stopped. He asked the others to continue on to the inn for the meeting as he attended to Pixa. Encha, though, refused to leave them behind, so they all agreed to wait. "What is it?" Dale asked Pixa. She looked ahead, where the foundry and blacksmith furnaces pumped thick black smoke into the sky. The furnaces had been running 24 hours a day non-stop for over 2 weeks. The Bell Foundry, with its kneaded bronze, kicked into action since last night, adding to the dark clouds of industry. "It is not as bad as when Lucifera appears, but it is blocking much of my needed sunlight. I can still fly, but it is difficult." Dale wanted to offer Pixa to ride in his vest, but Encha spoke up before he could. "I can take her back to the house." Encha placed 2 of her hands on her small belly. "I don't think the great author wrote for me to be breathing in this smog while carrying his new character. Let me take her back with me." Pixa nodded in agreement. "I think your counsel would be priceless at the meeting, Pixa." Dale was not so willing for her not to join them. "I have great confidence you can manage without me, Dale. I think Encha is right." She looked up at the dark bellows of black smoke emerging from the several large chimneys in the center of the town. "The winds are blowing it out to the east, away from your home. I think it's best for both of us to return to the house." "Okay, I'll be back as soon as the meeting ends and update you," Dale promised her. She and Encha encouraged them to continue as they headed back to Dale's childhood home. Ram's Inn. When they entered the Ram's Inn, they were greeted by Chopson, who led them to the second floor and a private banquet hall often used for weddings. "Who's getting married?" Dale asked Chopson. 2 armed guards with assault rifles stood at the door. "A general?" "The closest we have to having a general would be Greendale, and he is not getting married," joked Pete. "I don't even think he has a girlfriend." No one laughed at the teenager's attempt at humor. The guards saluted Dale as he approached. They were both men that had been on his mission for the sulfur and guano. They opened the double doors for them to enter. Dale stopped before entering. "Why so formal, Market-san?" "We have special guests coming, Major Dale." Greendale insisted on the military protocol to make a good impression. "Special guests?" Chopson was not even aware. "Who?" "That information we are not privy of, Chopson." Peterson, the other armed guard, answered. "I thought Greendale would have at least informed me." Chopson grumbled. "He has become much more secretive since this whole mess has developed." They entered the large room. Dale, Chopson, Zup, and Josh. Pete was prevented from entering by Marketson and Peterson. The doors were shut behind them. The large dance floor had rows of chairs lined up facing a large sandbox display that was upon 2 large tables. It was tilted on a 45-degree angle facing the rows of chairs. Many of the human settlement elders were already present. Some were sitting, some were standing as they had private conversations with each other. All their conversations stopped as they turned their attention to Dale, Chopson, Zup, and Josh entering the banquet hall. Greeting him, some gave him warm smiles as they made eye contact, while others, with serious expressions, bowed their heads slightly. Dale smiled and nodded his head in acknowledgement to them all. He then made a beeline to the display to examine it more closely. It was a landscape model of Tregore and its surrounding areas. The Neathton city's high stone walls, to scale, wrapped around the city, leaving only its southern shoreline and docks open. Greendale seemed to have gone to great detail. He has. Zoop responded, a little bit too detailed. Is he planning to come to our aid or lay siege upon us? The two main doors opened, and Greendale walked in with, to Zoop's surprise, his Neathton prince with two of his personal guards. Zoop admittedly approached his prince and bowed. "Sosi," Prince commanded Zoop. "I have heard very good things about you, Zoop. You have given all Neathton's great face among the humans. Owosisiso, Patosorgi." Zoop raised his head. "English. Let us use English among our friends." The prince smiled at Zoop and the others in the room. "So, this is our special guest?" Dale whispered to Greendale. "One of them," Greendale replied. "One of them?" Greendale perked Dale's curiosity. Please continue to Chapter 40. To support the author, please like, share, comment, and subscribe.